Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Centered and Steady Core Balance for Positive Aging, presented by Jewel Lane. My name is Lindsay Reichert. I'm the Director of Wellness Initiatives here at Friends Life Care. We are so happy for you to join us today for an amazing virtual workout. Before we begin, I'd like to go over a few housekeeping items. On the bottom of your screen, you will notice a taskbar. On that bar, you will see the letters Q&A with two little bubbles. We encourage you to put any questions you may have throughout the practice in the Q&A box. We will answer all questions at the end of today's session. To the farther right of your taskbar at the bottom of the screen, you will see two little C's. That will enable closed captioning. If you don't see that icon, click the three dots to the far right of your taskbar that says More. That should open up a number of options, including closed captioning. Feel free to turn on if you feel as though that will be helpful. Before I introduce our instructor, please remember to contact your medical team prior to introducing any new exercise routines and be safe throughout this class. Take breaks and modify as needed. And without further ado, I would like to introduce Jules. Joel is a wellness educator and movement teacher with 7 years of experience guiding students through yoga, Pilates, dance, and meditation. She creates classes that prioritize mindful connection between body and mind, focusing on functional movement that supports strength, balance, and mobility in everyday life. Throughout her teaching, she helps students move with ease, build confidence in daily activities, and cultivate practices that promote graceful aging and well-being. I am thrilled to have her here with us today, and I will turn it over to Jules.
Thank you so much, Lindsay. Lindsay and I have known each other for years now in Philadelphia. So I'm very honored and very excited to share this exercise routine with you, along with my passion, which is giving tips and tricks to help people feel strong and regulated during everyday movement. So I have a little PowerPoint that I'd like to share with you. Oh, Lindsay, I can't share. And I just want to talk a little bit about what functional strength and functional movement really is. Functional strength is any exercise that makes everyday movement stronger. So it's not about glamour muscles, it's not about having the biggest biceps in the room, but we can actually make doing things like laundry or grocery shopping or walking, even getting the mail out of your mailbox, anything like that, a little easier with healthy range of motion and being able to have everyday life just a little easier and more regulated. All right, so here we go. Perfect. You should be able to see my screen at this point. Fabulous. Thanks, Lindsay. All right, so I look at functional strength as the key to independence. This means when we can have everyday life activities just a little bit easier and a little stronger for us, we can be more confident in how we move about our daily life. When we are more confident, this creates a good place for the nervous system to live. When our nervous system is happy, we end up having a higher quality of life and a better everyday brain function. So not only is functional strength good for the body, but it's also good for the mind and how they connect with one another. So for me, I think of these things like doing my laundry or even writing and typing, or what is the health of my feet when I'm walking around in my daily life, or even driving and pressing the gas pedal. So just for a moment, I'd like you to think of a few tasks that you do in your daily life, whether it's walking around, sitting, getting back up, even something as simple and ordinary as getting out of bed, and what muscles might help you get there. Usually, the muscles that help us in these everyday functional strength activities are the core, the feet, and the hips. So once we're happy with those big places in the body that spend a lot of time in action, we can go about our life in a healthier way. All right. I do come from primarily a yoga and Pilates background. And a big thing that Pilates has taught me is what's known as the powerhouse. These are the muscles that are in the center and trunk of your body. And these are the muscles that we'll be focusing a lot today. A lot of people think of your core as just your abdominals, but I'd like to break that myth and talk about the core and the powerhouse as way more than that. You can see in this little diagram here that the main chunk, that big red piece in the center, labeled transverse abdominis, this is what people traditionally think of as your core. You got your six-pack muscles, you have the transverse abdominis that wraps around the low belly that you see there, and you have the muscles on the side called your obliques. That's traditionally the core, but we've now, with a little more research and a little more Pilates forward science-based movement, see that the diaphragm, the breathing muscles are involved in the core, that multifidus going down the spine, those are all of your posture muscles, which are incredibly important to the powerhouse in the core. And we also have our pelvic floor, the muscles underneath the pelvis and around that pelvic bowl near your hips and where your torso meets your legs. By not only focusing on your abdominals, but the entire core as a whole, we can improve posture, coordination, and keep the spine healthy. What I love about Pilates is that Pilates focuses on strengthening your core with the end-all goal to be a strong spine. Joseph Pilates, the inventor of Pilates, always said, you're only as young as your spine feels. So when our spine is in the correct alignment, we have a good way to stay resilient and stable because our spine is shaped in that little S curve. So we can have stability, right? So if we jump, if we land, we won't have too much force moving down with gravity. Having a healthy spine through having a healthy core gives us a healthy relationship with gravity. The purpose of today's 40-minute movement practice will be balance and mobility through core. I want to make very clear that these two pieces of movement, balance and mobility, very much function as an intimate team. Balance is when you have controlled steadiness in the body. Balance is when we feel resilient. We're able to move freely without feeling like we're at risk of falling. And mobility is this combination of flexibility and strength. Mobility is what gives us healthy range of motion in our joints. So being able to reach back behind you, being able to take a big step up of a stair, being able to get out of a car or out of bed, the more freedom of our joints we have, the easier those movements are. So functional strength as a whole is the combination of having good balance, good mobility, and overall control of our muscles and our bones. Okay, so I have a couple of things I've learned along my time of mindful movement that I'd like to share and prioritize before we get moving. Number one, I truly think that balance starts in the feet. As you can see in this little picture here, the left side of the photo shows you an unbalanced footprint, while the right side shows you a balanced footprint. Essentially, if our feet don't have the proper foundation, everything up the chain from our ankles to knees, pelvis, shoulders, even moving into the neck, may be less than optimal in terms of symmetry. When we focus on our feet primarily, and we will today, so you'll get to practice this real time, then everything up the kinetic chain can be a little stronger, a little happier, and more balanced. Tip number two is our breath is our superpower when it comes to core strength and proper use of exercise. So an easy key that you can remember, and I'll remind you going forward into our class, is exhale on the hard part. So when the exercise feels more challenging, for example, a bicep curl, usually for most people, it's when you're curling. If we exhale on that part, we are able to engage the core more specifically in order to get the most out of the exercise. And I have lots of testimonials from my clients that say when they started breathing and according to their exercise, they saw more results, more balance, and more core strength, even in everyday activities. So I will focus a bit on the breath before we get started so you know exactly how that feels in your own body. Tip number 3, which we'll also practice today, especially in these freezing cold months, a proper warm-up is very important with dynamic movement. So getting a little bit of movement through the muscles to take away some of the stiffness in maybe neck, shoulders, or hips can be very beneficial during your workout. And a proper cool down makes the exercises more effective. So if your muscles are worked during the exercise, we want to unwind them and send positive messages from the nervous system that we are finished, we are done, and we get to stretch a little after the exercise itself. So if you do have any questions from that little presentation, please feel free to drop them in the Q&A box, and Lindsay and I will get back to them at the end of this presentation. We will get moving in just a few minutes. Please make sure that you have a chair or something to sit on for part of your exercise. I will be using light weights. They're about 1.5 pounds. They are optional. You can do these exercises weightless, or you can grab even water bottles, soup cans. I've done an exercise with wine bottles. Just be careful if you have a hard floor, you don't want to break those. Anything that you feel might be even in both hands for a little extra weight if you would like that. I'm recommending to take this exercise either barefoot, grippy socks, or shoes for safety so there's no slipping. So please let me know if you have any questions, and we will go ahead and start our exercise seated in the chair.
Jewel, the only thing that came in is someone wanted to note that they are wearing a brace on their right knee. So if there's any modification.
Absolutely. Thanks for putting that in there. I will be giving you modifications throughout. And that being said, as Lindsay mentioned, if something doesn't feel right, if a doctor has told you not to move your body in a certain way, it's 100% okay to skip something. My intention with movement, with any person I've taught, is to feel empowered through movement instead of forcing yourself. So I actually like to follow the rule of like 70%. We don't want to go to 100 or 110 force. We don't need to, but we want to do a little more than like 20 or 30%. So finding your place at about 70% is usually a healthy place where we can still breathe. We don't have to make a funny face, and we can see results, and we can see how effective the exercise is. All right. No other questions? We're good to go.
No
Fabulous.
other questions.
Yes.
Nope, we're good to go.
Oh, okay, great. Thanks. All right. So I'll have you take a seat on your chair. My chair is on carpet, so it does feel pretty safe. So just make sure that there's no slipping. If you need to place something underneath, like a shoe or a flip-flop to make sure it's not slipping, that's great. So we just want to make sure everything is fine here. Place your feet on the ground in front of you, toes facing forward if that feels okay. If it feels better for you, you're welcome to take your toes out to the side with your knees out to the side a little bit as well. Think of raising your shoulders up a little bit towards your ears. You don't have to crunch your neck. Draw your shoulders back slightly and drop your shoulders down. This is our dynamic movement we'll start with. Shoulders up a little bit, no force. Shoulders back so the chest opens, and draw the shoulders down. Sometimes it might feel better to do one at a time, right shoulder, then left shoulder. So this is all about mindful movement and connecting to how your body wants to move and according to your mind's reactions. Let's take some nice deep breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. And I'll remind you, but try to make that your pattern, in through the nose, out through the mouth, as long as there's not a sinus thing going on. Let's try the other direction of shoulder movement. So you can do one at a time or both at a time. Rolling the shoulders forward, drawing the shoulders back. And again, we're moving to about 70% of your range, not trying to force the shoulders into any position they don't want to be. It doesn't take a lot for the body to find activity and effective movement. All right. Next time the shoulders are back, let's land them there. Think of lengthening your neck. So instead of tilting the head up, can your chin be about parallel with the earth? Almost like your ears are being pulled up towards the ceiling so your neck can get just a tiny bit longer. Place your hand around your rib cage. We'll practice our 360-degree breath, that superpower of the exercise. Instead of only trying to breathe into your belly or your chest, I want you to think about sending your breath out so your ribs expand into your hands. That's your inhale. As you exhale, think of pulling the ribs back in where they came from, almost like you're tightening a little belt across your belly. Just 70%, not 100. Let's try that a couple times. Inhale through the nose, ribs move out. As you exhale, the ribs come back in. There's a little drawing of the stomach in and up, like you're tightening that belt. This is the beginning of your core movement. Try that at your own pace a couple of times with a couple more tips for you. Notice if your feet did anything funky with their weight distribution. Everyone has patterns. Sometimes we roll to awkward places. Can you keep your feet grounded and think of both hips grounding equally, equal weight on the right half and the left half? You might start to sense with that exhale superpower, that tiny bit of core engagement. That's exactly what you're looking for if you're feeling that. A sense of connection from the sides, the front, and the back. This is called 360-degree breath because everything is opening and closing from the entire body, not just the belly or the chest. Okay. Once we find that really tall spine, ribs lifted, place your hands, palms facing up on your lap. Try to continue that breath. I know it can feel like effort, and that's okay. Tilt your right ear to your right shoulder and catch a little stretch on the left side of the neck. We'll move to the other side. I like to inhale through center. Exhale, tilt. Inhale, center. Exhale, tilt. Try this a couple more times so we can loosen up any tenseness in the neck. A good way to breathe through your functional strength is in through the nose and an audible exhale through the mouth. This helps us stay present in our exercise and in our mind. Good. All right. We'll move the spine 6 different ways to connect the core with the back body. Ways number 1 and 2 you might know as cat-cow, seated. You don't have to turn to the side, but I'm going to turn to the side so you can see. Palms face down. As you inhale, think of lifting your heart into a little back bend. You can gaze to where the ceiling and wall meet in front of you. As you exhale, round your spine, push the back into the wall behind you, and think of pulling the belly button up towards the mouth of the rib cage. Repeat. Inhale for your seated cow. It's a little back bend. Exhale for your seated cat. Round the spine. Pull the navel up and in for a little core engagement. One more time like that. Inhale, shoulders draw back, pelvis back, and neck move. Exhale, tuck your tail between your legs, round your spine, tuck your chin. Good. This is a great warm-up even before you get your morning coffee, take your walk for the day. Anything you do, this is a wonderful way to warm up the spine. The next 2 ways to move the spine are called lateral flexion. You can either take your hands to your legs for more support, or if you're feeling a little fiery already, you might take your hands behind your head like you're going to do a crunch. This one can be small to start. Take a little side bend on your exhale, like your elbows trying to reach across the room. Inhale, come through center. Exhale, side bend the other way. My feet are pressing into the ground for support and balance. And we'll come through center. It's okay if it feels like work. The core is turning on, and we will actually do a core exercise that resembles this. One tip I have for you is instead of trying to crunch as low as you can, think of lifting up and over a beach ball. Like you could get more space, and maybe you catch a stretch on the lengthened side. I think of an accordion here. One side closes and crunches, and one side opens and expands. Let's take one more. You never have to go at my pace. You can always go at your own pace, your own range of motion. I'm here to guide you, but not dictate exactly what you're doing. Good. Finish up this last one. Trying to find evenness. Even the legs are working a little here. Good. This last exercise for the spine, hands will stay behind the head to start. As you exhale, I want you to rotate your rib cage to one side of the room. As you inhale, move through center with control rather than slingshotting back. Exhale, twist, one side of the room. Inhale, come back through center. If you would like to add, you'll take your arms out to the side. Let your arms follow your chest as you twist. This will add a little extra strength in the arms, maybe even a little range of motion. It's okay if it feels challenging, even though it's a warm-up, it should be warming up your body. Good. A little tip, instead of gravity having an impact on you, can you think of moving anti-gravity, almost like there's a little string on top of your head lifting you up. You can even think, if your arms are open, that your arms are being pulled apart, collarbones stretching through the fingertips. Healthy rotation of the spine is a beautiful way to keep the core and the back healthy throughout your whole life. Good. Let's do about one more. Feet are pressing down for support. Again, a little effort, a little work. Neck stays long. Beautiful. And let's come through center. Place the hands back on the lap. Just wiggle your fingers slightly. Now look down at your feet and see if they're still in that even planted nature. If they're not, try to go ahead and fix that. Place your hands on your hips. Press your hips down as you think of lifting your rib cage up like a hot air balloon. So we're playing around with energy here. Hips move down with gravity and rib cage lifts up. This will help you stay tall instead of letting gravity get the best of you in the upper body. Put some pressure on the balls of your feet. That's where your toes connect to your foot. And just lift both heels. Good. Lower down. And for me, I have the camera so I can see my own feet. If you can, look in the camera. Otherwise, look down at your own feet and watch your ankles rise. The absolute key to balance in your life when you're doing heel lifts like this is to make sure your ankle is lifting straight up rather than sickling out to the side. So just watch me for a second. Instead of letting the ankles move away towards the outsides of your body like so, I want you to pull the inner ankle and the outer ankle in. So you see that difference? Now my heel is rising directly above my toes. So we'll practice this standing up, but I did want to do this on the ground first with stability to make sure we can sense the ankle lifting straight up. If you get a foot cramp, you can pause. Sometimes that happens sometimes. Let's just do one more here. Good. All right. Take your arms up to the sky into a wide V shape. If this feels uncomfortable on the shoulders, you can take your arms out to a T or keep them on your lap instead. Otherwise, we'll get the arms involved a little bit. Lean into your seat by tucking your tail slightly. Can you lift your right leg up as high as it wants to go without force? Place it back down. And then go ahead, when it hits the floor, pick your left leg up as high as it wants without any force. Good. Inhale on the way down. Exhale on the hard part on the way up. Inhale on the way down. Exhale on the hard part on the way up. If the arms aren't doing it for you, you can take your hands down to your chair and grip on either side so you have something to press into. This will give the legs a little more room to produce effort. I do appreciate the cross body exercise here. There's a reason we start crawling and walking and running with cross body. So if you'd like to try, as the left leg lifts, right arm will reach forward. Come back through center. We take opposite and opposite. This is beautiful for coordination. The right and left half of the body are intimately connected, as are the right and left half of the brain. When babies start crawling, they're always doing cross-body exercises. And they've actually done a lot of studies recently that say that cross-body activation helps brain development. Good. If you would like to kick it up a notch, it's optional. Maybe the leg goes straight. As we lift, lower down, bend your knee. And I'm shaking here in the legs. Lift. Try to kick your camera if you're in front of it, and lower down. Let's take a few more like this. Let's go for 5. Slow and steady wins the race. Your pace is with your breath. You're not trying to get the most reps in there. Good. For 3. See if you can catch some hang time up in the air. For 2. Good. Last one. Beautiful. And let's come back down, give the arms a rest for a moment. Go ahead and step your feet wide. Toes face out, knees face out. And if it feels safe for you, scooch to the edge of your chair. You can hold on to your chair for this one and lean your weight back for safety. Can you squeeze your bum muscles? Use your inner thighs to open the knees, peel the feet open like a book. Come back to your center, feet plant on the ground. Let your weight distribute to the edges of your feet. Imagine you're pressing the wall behind you back with your knees, and then come back through center. Continue at your own pace. I'm just going to show you what this might look like from the side. Okay, so my knees are physically moving back, my feet are peeling open, and I come back through center. You might feel your outer hips here. That's glute medius. These are the muscles needed for walking, hiking, going upstairs, everyday life of lifting the legs and moving the legs out. Continue here. One thing that we do see impacting balance in people are inner thigh tightness. So with this specific exercise of stretching the inner thighs and using the outer hips, we build connection with the glute/hip and the leg itself. This entire area of the pelvis, hip, and the leg work together as a team through the core, the powerhouse, to keep balance and strength part of your life. Let's just do 4 more here. Again, peeling the feet open like a book, pressing the knees back and catching that extra sensation. Good. For 3. The key is to keep that little squeeze at the very back and hold it. Feel the sensation. Inhale through center. Exhale, squeeze. Good. Inhale through center. Last one here. Exhale, squeeze and hold. Breathe. Good, and relax. Let's take the feet about hips distance. Hold onto the chair behind you. A little movement in the legs to loosen up the hips. Think of a windshield wiper. Both knees go one direction and then the other direction. You can let your feet collapse, one to the inner edge, one to the outer edge. Catch that evenness in the center and move it to the other side. When it comes to foundation in the feet, we want to observe what that weight shift feels like. Maybe one is a little easier than the other, which is normal. One more little stretch here. I love doing this in the morning, laying down, seated. This is a great way to loosen up the low back as well. Good. So we'll move into that lateral flexion, but a little different so we can use the core a little more strongly. Let's take the feet wide once again, toes out, knees out, trying to sit up super tall. Hands can either be on the legs for support or hands behind the head for a little extra fire. The importance is thinking of lifting the spine instead of crunching the spine. Let's take an inhale this time as we tilt to one direction. You can go a little lower. As you exhale, cinch those ribs together to use the obliques and come back. Inhale over into your lean. Can you use that exhale, 360 breath, to squeeze your tight belt a little tighter to come up? So inhale, tilt. You can use your feet support. Exhale, lift. Beautiful. Let's keep it going. There are ways to make this a little more gentle, such as holding the legs and using your arms for support. This will take some of the work out of the core and bring some of the work into your strong arms instead. Some of you might want to make it a little more fiery by taking the arms into that V shape. Again, if it feels forceful or if it feels not right and your body is giving you a red flag, that's your cue to do a little bit less. Okay, so adding those arms, depending on the size of your arms, could be about 10 to 15 extra pounds of weight and force. They say the average arm is about 7 pounds. Let's take a few more, focusing on the core, right? So obliques expand as we tilt. Think of an accordion closing and cinching to find your obliques. You can even take one of your hands to that rib cage to build body awareness. Exhale, your obliques work. You can feel the effort in your core and powerhouse. Let's keep it going just a little bit longer, maybe 1 or 2 on each side, depending on your pace. Again, your practice is going to look different than my practice, and that's how it's supposed to be. We're all different. Take everything as slow or as quickly as feels effective for you. Let's take the arms down for a couple of circles through the arms to give the neck a little bit of length. Sometimes we hold tension in the neck accidentally during core. So we want to open the shoulders, go ahead, reverse those circles. Take nice deep breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth as a relaxation breath. Good. One more oblique exercise, because they are the epitome of keeping length in the spine. Hands behind the head. Remember our march from last time. One knee comes up, we place it back down with control, and the other knee pops up. We'll add one layer here. It's a rotation towards your bent knee like a bicycle twist. Inhale through center, that's your home base. Exhale, bicycle twist, knee and elbow reach towards each other, but they don't have to touch. Inhale, home base. Exhale, belly button to spine, wrap your rib cage shut and twist. You can go as little, like a baby twist, or as deep, maybe even touching your elbow and knee if it feels okay. So you have choices. Choices are what empowers us through movement and through everyday life. You always are welcome to take it really easy. You're always welcome to fire it up a few notches. It's all about feeling confident and empowered in your movement, feeling safe, and walking out of this exercise feeling confident. Good. So legs, core, and maybe even arms are working here. Couple of tips as we move. Can you let the feet be fully planted every time it comes down? So that means the big toe side and the pinky toe side are equal on the earth. If you feel like you're holding your head and your hands together, can you rather press your head into your hands a little bit so we're not dipping the chin down, right? We want to practice that good posture. Ears on top of shoulders in home base. Let's just do a couple more here, and then we have one more exercise seated. Take it at your own pace. Maybe there's a little extra squeeze at the top of that action. Use that superpower exhale to contract the core muscles. All right, last one, even yourself out. If you started on right or left, if you remember. Good. Let's come back through center, arms down, shake out the legs, give it a little break, maybe gentle nose of the head or yeses of the head. Perfect. All right, this one we'll get into the low belly a little bit, which we will feel more in session 2 when we do some grounded work in 2 weeks from now. So this will give you a little taste of what the low belly might feel like. Don't turn your chair, but I'm going to turn my chair so you can see from the side here. For this exercise, I want you to hold onto the chair, lean back slightly, or you can even press your back to the back of the chair if you have it for extra support. Can we lift both legs off the earth? They don't have to go very high. Inhale, tap your toes down like the floor is lava. Exhale, scoop the low belly and lift. Now the key here is trying to keep your spine long rather than slumping into gravity. Okay, so exhale when it's hard to lift. Inhale, little tap, the floor is lava. For your modification, if it's too much, you're going to keep one toe down on the ground and alternate. This is a little different than what we did before because our feet aren't fully planted. We're not pressing into the ground for any support. So you should feel those low belly muscles. Those are your transverse abdominis working pretty hard to lift the leg. This is the epitome of your hips and your belly working together, right? So this is your functional movement of walking, of sitting up out of a chair, maybe even hiking, going upstairs. We can always use our core to support the rest of the body. We don't have to be doing crunches or any work on the floor to feel our core still. All right, this is your final pose here in the chair sequence. Maybe both legs can lift up. Can we straighten the legs and lower back down? You can also do one at a time, right? So this will add a little more hip flexor. Hip flexor is where the hip meets the torso. You can hold onto the chair. Safety is priority, so if it doesn't feel safe, do one at a time instead. Okay, straighten and bend. Shakiness is not a bad thing. That's how we're building muscle in our body. That's a sign that things are working. Pain is not good. So if you're feeling pain in the back or the hips, then I want you to use that one toe at a time method instead. Okay, let's go for 3 more. I know this is a tough one. We'll move into the arms next. For 2. Good, last one. And let's release. For a little stretch before the arms, we'll take a gentle rotation. If you can grab the back of your chair, one hand to the opposite knee for a twist. Only if it feels okay on the neck, you can look back. Otherwise, let the neck be in a comfortable place. Go ahead and switch. Couple nice relaxing breaths in this place before we stand up. All right. So if you would like to use your weights, go ahead and grab those, one in each hand. And just because you started using them does not mean you have to use them the whole time. Find a place to stand. Good. Move the camera up a little bit. Okay. Let's find evenness in your feet to start. So both feet planted firmly on the ground. Can you shift your weight around in a little circle? Both feet rotating on the earth. until you feel like there's equal weight in your right foot and your left foot. Take your arms out to the side in a little upside down V. Bend your elbows for a bicep curl on your exhale. Inhale, release until the arms are almost straight but not locked out. Exhale, bend. Good, and inhale, release. We'll continue this slow and steady. Instead of looking for how many reps we can do, we're looking for how controlled the movement can be, right? So if you want less challenge, you're going to take the arms close and use leverage of your elbow connected to your body somewhere, still remaining tall in the chest. If you want to spice it up a little or a lot, you can take the arms out in front of you, bending the elbows and lengthening back out. This will add more effort for your bicep muscle. The farther something is away, the more force it requires and the more strength it requires. Try not to death grip whatever you're holding if you can help it. So instead of using the finger strength, we're really using the bicep strength entirely. Good, continue at your own pace. We'll be here for a little bit. The secret to a good bicep curl is to never bend your elbow entirely, giving yourself that rest, and to never lock out and straighten your arms entirely. Instead, can you work in that 90% range of motion? So I'm never fully straightening or fully bending 100%. This makes sure that we are in tension the entire duration of the exercise, truly using our muscles to maintain control, precision, and balanced movements. You might notice one arm a little stronger than the other. That is okay. You don't have to fix it. You're never going to be perfectly symmetrical, but it is something to take note of. So when you're doing exercises, you can always add an extra rep or two to the less strong arm. Something to be aware of if you have a chance to pick something up with the other hand. It's all about body awareness. Let's just do 3 more before we move on. And again, if the weights are starting to feel heavy, you can put them down. You can grab something extra heavy if you want a little extra effort. Good. We will all end with a 90-degree bend in the arms. Option 1, a little more gentle, elbows tucked in. Think of closing a gate with your weights in front of your body and opening back up. This is a little bicep and a little shoulder. Can you sense the core helping you stay stable? As you open, inhale. As you close, exhale. We are not only practicing this opening and closing of the gate, we're practicing stable foundation of your feet. So take your posture check. We're practicing 360-degree breath in through the nose, out through the mouth as you tighten that belt loop. So I know there's a lot that you have to think about, a lot going on, but this is mindful movement. Once we do this mindfully for 30 minutes to 60 minutes a day, the rest of your day is automatically more mindful because you etched it into your brain and your nervous system feels safe and confident. If you would like to pick it up for the last couple, I invite you to take your arms out to a goalpost. Can you close the gate in front of your face a little bit higher and open back up? If it feels too intense, maybe there's a halfway zone or you stay at that low place. Biceps are working, chest and back are working together to produce healthy ranges of motion for your shoulders. Okay, let's just go for 3 more. Posture check, head is tall, feet are grounded. For 2. Yes, and last one. Let's take a little break with the arms down. Take your head for very gentle shakes of no as you relax your shoulders down the back. Good. We have just a little more arm work here. Okay, so if weight start might feel heavy during this one, so always put them down if you need. Arms straight out to the side, and if it feels too hard, lower them down, please. We don't want any crunching of the shoulders. Rotate little circles of your arms with your palms facing down. Even though you're not watching your hands make the circles, can your head stay forward and imagine your circles at the exact same height, drawing the exact same shape the whole time. And again, shaky is okay. Sensation is okay. Pain is not good. So if there's pain, give it a break. Otherwise, if it feels hard, just stick with me. Remember your breath and know that you're building strength and confidence. Go ahead, reverse your circles. Try to make them the same circles the whole time. You can always bend your elbows or go very, very low. Some of you might still be at that shoulder height. No need to go higher. No need to crunch the neck. We only have one more exercise. Stay with me, and two more. Good. I want you to flip your palms up towards the ceiling and flip your palms down towards the ground. This is where we end the arm sequence, then we get a break. Okay, let's go three more. Good. Feet press down, core is engaged. Pull your belly in and up towards the rib cage. Last one, everybody. Good, and release. You can place those weights on your chair or on the surface in front of you. And let's just draw big circles with the arms like you're doing the backstroke. Nice job. Big circles forward like you're doing the front stroke. Nice deep breaths. Wonderful. You don't have to move your chair, but I'm going to keep mine facing sideways, so you can see what I'm doing. Feel free to either face your chair like so, or to face your camera if that's easier. You can put one hand on the chair. We'll start with right foot staying forward and left leg moving. That means right leg is your stable leg. Tap your left toes out to the side. Tap the left toes behind you, and you can hinge your torso forward a little bit. And then lift that left leg up. It's okay to bend your knee a little. We'll repeat that sequence. Foot comes through center, hardly any weight on the foot. Tap out to the side. Draw a quarter circle to the back. And lift up to squeeze your glute. That's your butt muscle. Let's come through center, baby tap. Tap to the side. Tap to the back. And then lift. Use the strength of your strong leg to squeeze the bum. And repeat. Okay, so you can go as slower as you fast on this one. Make sure the core is pulling in as the leg moves up, so we're not sinking into our habits and making funny shapes with the spine. The spine is stable the whole time in neutrality. You might notice, even though one leg is doing the moving, it's probably the standing leg that is feeling most of the work and sensation. That is because that's our stabilizing leg. We want that leg to be working, maybe a gentle bend in the knee so you're not locking out the joint. Good, we just have a couple more here, then we'll move to the other side. Last two. Take breaks as needed, please. Grab some water if you need to. Good, and last one. Can we keep it lifted and just count backwards from 5, 4, stand tall, posture check, 3, 2, and relax. Go ahead, shift your weight into that hip that was working and into the hip that was moving. Just a couple hip shifts to get some movement and stretch through the glute. Good, one more on each side, and then we'll take that to the other direction. Good. You don't have to flip. Left leg stays still this time. Right leg stays light on itself. Tap to the side, tap to the back, and squeeze as you lift the whole leg. Good. Tap forward, tap side, back, and squeeze to lift. Take this at your own pace, and I want you to maybe think of what's happening internally. So only if you feel safe, you can close your eyes if you want to, but no need to. Can you notice which muscles are working? Notice if one side feels different than the other. That right leg already did some work, so it's probably already feeling a little fatigue or a little effort. And part of this is not moving fast and trying to get over with it, but trying to find those little moments of strength and curiosity so we can build body awareness just as much as muscle. Okay, we only have about 3 more here. Good. This is a really great one for that glute medius, for your hamstrings. This is how the core and the legs connect. We got 1 more, and we'll count to 5 on that last one. And you only have 1 more exercise left. Let's hold, press your left foot down, lift your right leg up for 4, 3, 2, and rest. We'll do that same little hip shift. One way and then the other. And we'll end with 1 exercise that we did on the chair to start, but now we can try it in the center of the room. Hold on for support if you want. Otherwise, maybe if you're looking for a challenge, it can be hands on hips, only if you feel steady. Can you just lift both heels up as we did on the chair, mindfully, and slowly lower, slow motion. Both heels lift up, ankles in line with the toes, not out to the side, and slow motion lower. You can get light on the chair, maybe hands on hips or somewhere that helps you feel balanced if you're looking for an extra challenge. This is great for your calf muscles. Ankle mobility is very important for balance, connection with your feet and the rest of your body, carrying all your weight is great to build mobility. Okay, we'll be done with this exercise in about 4 more. Can you keep it extra slow on this one, like you're moving through molasses? Is your core engaged? Can you practice that 360 breath, connecting your exhale with your deep belly muscles? Last one. Good, and relax. Hold on to your chair. We'll stretch out the ankles by drawing circles in one direction. Choose one foot and try to draw the biggest circle you can with your big toe. And then switch directions. If I could recommend one thing you add to your daily life, morning, night, whenever, it would be ankle circles. This is what keeps us resilient and out of the risk of falling because our feet are happily connected to the rest of the body. Let's go ahead for the other side. And then switch. You can even do this laying down too. And a quick hamstring stretch. Face your chair. Step your right foot forward, your left foot back. Reach your hips towards the back of the room, hands on the back of the chair or lower, until you feel a stretch in the back of your leg. Front leg stays straight but not locked out. Hips move back. The movement comes from your hips and your back is flat instead of rounded if you can. Hold. And we'll switch to the other side. Opposite foot forward, right foot back. Think of your hips pushing the door closed behind you as you lean your chest forward. It's more of a forward fold than a downward fold, so we feel sensation in the hamstrings. Couple more seconds here. This is your static stretch, your cool down to send the body signals that we're finished with the movement and the fire. Good. Let's come back through center. And we are all finished for today. Thank you so, so much for joining me. And I look forward to seeing you for part 2 in 2 weeks from today. Please let me know if you have any questions, and I will be around if you need anything in the meantime.